summarize what WebEx is about. Invu Workflow. I'm just going to cover off, hopefully, in some detail how Invu Workflow can benefit your business process and your business as a whole, how processes can be streamlined using an electronic workflow model in Invu, as well as go into some detail about what Invu Workflow is. So everybody's joined, we can just jump straight. So just a brief intro slide on sort of the order of events. First one is what is workflow. I'll cover that off. And then moving on from that, we'll have a number of topics that we'll just go through. The first one being the benefits of utilising workflow, benefit your business or to a specific business process that you have and that you may just sort of want to streamline just to make it less sort of physical paced and make it predominantly electronic. The second topic we'll move on to is sort of just common use cases for workflow. Parts within a business that tend to use it, areas within a business where workflow has worked, and also other aspects of the business process, a big number of business processes even where workflow has been used out there and currently is being used by a number of customers. The final topic is integration with third-party systems. Workflow does need to be sort of a sandboxed module. Can it further and beyond the Invu product? And we do the ability to integrate directly or indirectly with third-party systems where records in finance systems, for example, can be updated, and those updates can then be pushed back to the finance system, or if a finance system's been updated outside of Invu, those updates can be pushed into Invu as a part of the workflow process. So it's flexible. Workflow does have a broad reach. It'll be difficult for me to cover everything in this WebEx, but I'm hoping to just give education and a bit of insight into what potentially could be possible, and how you be able to relate that to your business. So you can further line or make efficiencies within specific business processes or departments or within your business. Once we're through the topics, I'll do a short demo of a very, very simple workflow that we use in-house. It's just holiday requests. There's not, but you can kind of see where things are made a little bit easier through the use of using a workflow. Because historically, even as a management company, we used to have holiday requests, have them physically signed by a manager or leader, and to be physically walked over and handed over to someone in HR who would then scan it in and then put it to Invu and then add the holiday to the calendar. Long-winded, made no sense. So a simple process that as long-winded as that, we've just kind of thrown into a workflow, and we do use it. And then at the end, questions you don't need to reserve until the end. If you want to jump in, just send me a little message in the chat box. Question, if I can answer it while doing I'm talking about what I'm talking, then I'll answer it. If not, I'll wait until the end, or if I need to come back to you at a later date after the WebEx with an answer, in case I need to speak to somebody else, then I'll take your email address and whatever, and I'll get in touch with you. So, is Invu Workflow. It's a module in Invu Document Management. It is the default, S600 license, we'll call it, just gives you access to the document managed product. The S650 license unlocks workflow effectively. And as it kind of says, as the first bullet point says, and pretty much what I've been talking about in the introduction is, it's an electronic method of, intelligently routing documents within Invu to groups or individual users that underpin or that relate to a business process. it allows the control of movement of documents around the organisation without physically to print things out or walk around to users and have them sign things off or review things or just make notes on it. It can be all self-contained within the Workflow product. So there's no risk of piece of paper go about, left it on someone's desk and it's just mixed in with a stack of other bits of paper. Chances are it will probably never get looked at, or it will get forgotten about for a bit until some prompts that user to something with it. Final point there is, it is for the authorization of invoices, holiday requests, proofreading, review of documents. Sort of classic examples of a workflow process. It's not restricted to these examples. These are just sort of the common scenarios that we come across when dealing with workflow and requirements that people have. So the benefits of utilizing workflow, as I've kind of already said, it allows you to streamline a long-winded manual paper process. Is one of our customers as an example, who are they deal with funeral plans. They're of Scotland. They have, or they used to have, a very common manual paper process whereby they would receive these funeral plans that have been completed by hand. They would, come into the business, and then they would be opened up in the morning in the post. Somebody took that batch to a department or a team, divvy them up, and then whoever gave funeral plan would then have to look at the credit card details, make sure the form's been filled in. If it's been filled in correctly, it gets moved on. If it's been filled in correctly, it gets pushed back. And this is, called documents that people are walking around the business with, the office with, moving from desk to desk, department to department, person to person. A lot of time is generally just wasted getting up, walking around and making sure these documents get where they need to be. So you can show that process by electronic within Workflow. So this customer, the funeral plans come in, they get captured by our capture product. They complete the form electronically, so make sure that the data that's been captured mirrors up with what actually has been captured, and then it gets put into Invu, hits the workflow, goes to the department to begin with, and all the approvals, processing, payments, everything happens within Workflow. If something needs to be queried, it's done in Workflow, goes to the finance team or the processing team or whatever. So there's no risk of documents going missing or things lost under a stack of other bits of paper that need to be worked on. Leads on to the second point on screen, which is automating a process which involves multiple systems as well as multiple departments. So for this funeral plan provider, they had multiple systems. You had a customer care department who needed to be able to, if a person submitted a funeral plan application even, needed to find out where within the process their application was. Before they had Workflow implemented, it could take anywhere between 5 and sort of 25, 30 minutes for a customer care agent from taking the call, getting the customer's details, and sifting through a stack of paper until they find out where within the process that application is. Now with Workflow, the customer service team has access to Invu. They can just type in the customer's name, plan number, whatever, any reference number that may have been given at the point that the plan was generated, and just find it instantly. And having that tie-in with different systems and different departments is a pretty key thing for customers who use Workflow, because for the plan, using the funeral provider as another example, is that once payments have been taken, their finance system needs to be updated to reflect the fact that payment has been taken. And what type of payment, credit card, check, backs, all the rest of it. So this
has left the conference.
Integration is really useful. Following that, having workflow process for any sort of department or business process, I feel it can help improve external relationships with, suppliers, providers, whoever, regardless of which sort of industry you're in, which sort of business sector. Purely, if it's info, you know where it is. If it's an invoice that needs to be processed or a purchase order that needs to be approved, and you've got people breathing down your neck trying to find out where within the process it is, just by a quick query and quick check flow, you can see that it's with person X in department Y, and the reason for the hold up is that it's in query, or it's been rejected because the credit card number was wrong, or the net back gross didn't quite add up, and things like that. So being able to access this information at the speed you can access it, I certainly feel that it does improve or help improve relationships with certain providers, and ultimately that you can resolve issues that relate to payment, especially with payment. The quicker you can process payments and push things forward and resolve any issues, the quicker the money flows effectively, whether it's into your business, out of your business. Suppliers get paid on time, you get paid on time. Ultimately, it's all beneficial across the board. Common use cases for workflow in finance. The three sort of common cases in which workflow is used: invoice processing, order processing, and expenses. Expenses is something that I guess a majority of companies will have to deal with at one point or another, whether it's a small, simple expense process where you have a form to fill out and just staple your receipts to, or whether it's something a little bit more complex where whoever's submitting their expenses needs to scan in receipts. They need a VAT receipt and the original receipt and all the rest of it. Interesting, we do have our own invoice processing module, which uses. I've mentioned capture, invoice capture, invoice processing. They kind of fit together, where an invoice will come in, our capture software will recognise it, send it into Invu. If needed, we can update a third-party database at the same time for reporting and things like that. It's workflow, and the invoice approval process will just go through whatever process is dictated by your business needs. Likewise with order processing, if you purchase some equipment, here's an example because it's something I can do. If I need to buy a new computer for someone in the business, I will submit a purchase order with who the buyer is, who it's for, whether it's internal, whether it's for one of the sales guys. It's all just completed within workflow, specified at the point of filing the document. So it goes to, if it's over in value, it goes to the head of finance who has to approve it. If it's less than £100, for example, then it's automatically approved. So there's no real, you can have some flexibility. You can build that into your workflow to account for certain scenarios and conditions. So if you've got an invoice or an order that is above £100, for example, it needs to be authorised by person X. If it's less than that, it needs to be by. If it's above £10,000, then it needs to be authorised by FD and then the MD. You can have a two-stage authorisation process. And like with expenses, if you submit a massive expense claim, that may not possibly be authorised by just one person. It may need to go above or higher than that person. So it may just need to go to the FD for approval or authorisation before things get paid and signed off. And approving something in workflow can be the same as just metaphorically, putting your signature on a sheet of paper when you're approving something. And with the invoice processing module, especially, we've got the ability to code. We've got invoice coding and processing all tied into one module. So now in the workflow process, I guess if you're an accounts department or a finance department, if you're coding invoices, you have to put codes, physically scribble them down on a piece of paper, initial them, sign them off, hand them over to somebody else to code for cross-charging and all the rest of it. that can all be contained and done in the workflow process. HR, I mentioned holiday forms earlier. We do use them internally. It's such a simple thing, holidays, but the electronic process makes it even simpler. As weird as it sounds, you think, yeah, okay, just getting someone to give you the nod on a holiday shouldn't be that complex, but if they're used to printing stuff off and having to get somebody to physically sign it, if that's what your process has been, then you're not going to question it until you change. So yeah, it takes time. For us, form approval is made by the Invu web module, web approval, which is online. When I do my holiday, I do the demo of the holiday request towards the end of the week, and I'll demonstrate sort of how it all integrates. Because if you've got a form that has to be signed by someone who's not in the office, they can just do it on their phone through our website, which we've exposed externally, and this is available in Workflow. And then just the final common use case for a workflow is just general. There's no specific workflow. It's just everything's under a general header. So things like, document change approval, if you've got terms and conditions, contracts and all the rest of it, you can have a specific workflow for a specific document type or a specific business process. You can have a just generic workflow that is mainly perhaps just for, collaboration or authorization of certain changes within documents and things like that. So you can pin it down to a specific process. You can make it as generic or as specific as you like. So earlier that we do have the ability to integrate with third-party systems. One of the things I mentioned was, the auto update of information sort of throughout the life of a workflow. So when you use finance as an example, an invoice is in, an invoice to be paid, all the rest of it. You will have your own finance system, which workflow relating to an invoice that's in workflow. So the detail of that invoice may or may not exist in your finance system, but through Flow we can either pump the into your finance system to create the record for that invoice, so that when you do your payment run, the record already there. I want to do a payment run once it's been paid through your finance system. That event of being paid can be pushed back into Workflow to say that this invoice has been paid, and Workflow can be closed or ended, or if something else to happen off the back of that, then it can be pushed forward. It all depends on how your workflow has been designed, and that's kind of what my first two bullets there say. Update records in a finance system and update the Invu metadata based on changes in that finance system. So if an invoice has been paid, that gets pushed back in Workflow to let users in Invu know that the invoice has been paid. If it's on hold, likewise, we can do the same thing. If it's on hold in Invu because something needs to be verified or checked, we can have that event, that hold event, or value, to dictate that the invoice is on hold, pushed into your finance system, just to let your accounts team know that the invoice is on hold, because it may be a payment. You might have a separate payments team that deals with payments and a separate, processing team that deals with the physical payment of the invoices. So to have multiple systems talking to each other, or at least being in line with each other, is certainly one of the things that we try to achieve with Workflow. And then down the bottom, I've just got a list of systems that we can integrate with or update. Update is at some level a form of integration. So it's like QLX, Navision, Landmark, Sage 200. These are some big systems that we can work with. Integrate directly, which is pumping information straight into the database, or is one option, or whether we integrate indirectly, where we write data out to a third-party table, and then the vendor, so let's just take QLX for example, one of their developers will come in and write a routine take that data that we're writing to a third-party table and pull it into LX, because some companies you might find, or some vendors might find, that they don't want, you know, being written directly into their database. They want to be able to handle that process, that import process, or update process, closely with some of these vendors to achieve that. So just a few examples. If you know, this isn't a finite list of systems that we can work with or can integrate with. If you have your own system that you'd like us to look at, we can certainly do a proof of concept to find a way forward. But yeah, we don't shy away from trying to make something work. So if you're interested, then just let us know. If you'd like to know more about our integrations and how they all work, then just let us know. And here's a demo that I'll do. I've already Invu open. Log as me. This is live internal system. Well, actually, I've got PO here. Well, I'll just close this because I think I've received it on Monday. So I closed it, but that's being lazy. So yeah, so this is a PO, and as you can see, I've bought something from Amazon. And here's my purchase order form here. So I just need to close the items received. But if I start with our holiday request, it should only take a few minutes. So we've hours up. So that you create a document which is a template. So our holiday requests are all uniform. They all look the same. We haven't got some people submitting Word documents and Excel spreadsheets and all the rest of it. It's all done in an Adobe an editable Adobe document. So on my holiday template, so I'll give it a title, pick it, and well, it's a bit slow, so still have to get a minute. There we go. So this is a rich PDF. You could use your own documents. It doesn't have to be a PDF. We just find for our internal process, a PDF is just straightforward. So I say I want to take 10 days from, I don't know, to, I don't know, I'm just going to make up the date now. Oops. So I guess I'm just filling this in, so it doesn't mean anything. Literally just fill in my form, close it, save changes. It's already got a name. And that gives me my file and save screen. And again, manual process, but you know, with our invoice capture and Invu capture and invoice processing, you know, this sort of stuff can be automated because, you know, documents are scraped for information, invoice details, and all the rest of it are just scraped and then automatically filed using Link Manager. So I can file this holiday request, and again, see here we've got do not use and do not use, and that's because the root workflow is all pulled from a third-party table that we've got configured on server. So it will cut my employee name because I'm the one who's doing it. I'm the one who's filing the document, so it'll pick up my name. It will look at the database, determine who my line manager is, and send that holiday request to my line manager. I'm going to filter my workflow screen just so I can show you all the workflows in the system and specific holiday request that I've just filed, so I can show you who it's with and at what stage it's at. I think my laptop's not going to play ball. It may just take a minute. need to restart Invu. I think it's oh no, yeah. Just took a minute. Right, holiday request. I need to find mine. Mine should appear. Yeah, the one. Right, so this is the request that I've just submitted to Piers. So that's the one I've done today, 29th of Jan to the 5th of Feb. So that's currently with Piers, who's my manager. So I'm going to move it as him. I've told him to ignore anything that he gets from me between 10 and 11, so he's not going to approve it. So, you know, you've got the option to approve. And then when approved, it's to a lady called Dee, who then adds it to the company calendar, just so that everybody in the business is aware. And then, after that, once Piers has approved the workflow task, really, once you get to the, sorry, goes to Keeley at the same time, I get an email saying that my whole request has been assigned to me and it's been approved. So if I was out and about, I'm office-based, but if I was out and about, I could have a quick look at it on my phone and think, right, my holiday's been approved, I'm all good. And yeah, any workflow tasks can be made visible on the web. So if I click that link, that will take me to our internal in-web configuring Invu web website to view the task. If I'm a manager, I get a request, but I'm not in the office. I can either approve, reject, or just view the document. So I can click on View Document, and this is the same request that you saw me file into Invu at the start of the process. So I'll just do a quick demo of that. So that is my holiday request, and it's on the web, so it's accessible to whoever the recipient is. And again, I can just acknowledge it. So it's moved, I've acknowledged it, and my task has been actioned. The very sort of tablet friendly and fat finger friendly, so you can use it on your phone and you can use it on your tablet or whatever medium you choose. And once that's gone, gone. So refresh this. Because she needs to add it to the company calendar, but I'll added it, and then that's it. The workflow's gone, the task is complete. It's in the calendar, and we've got purchase orders here that we closed and all the rest of it. So a couple of workflows that we use just to make small efficiencies where we see fit. And I think pretty much it. So yeah, any questions from anybody? I didn't see the chat box go. Look, if anybody's not asking, but yeah, if you can't think of any questions at the moment, then feel free to ping us an email, info@in.net. We will be more webinars. I believe our next one will be, or should be, on code free or advanced code free. Feel free to join that one. Send us questions that you may like to see for future webinars. If there's certain topics or certain scenarios that you may like to discuss, that you may think be useful for other Invu users or other Invu customers, then we'll start to know.